All right, something a little different today. If you follow us over at Pulse Cleveland on Twitter, you would have already known that I tweeted this out and said we're not going to have a traditional Cavs encapsulated upload this week. Some conflicting schedule issues, so we all recorded our own thoughts, feelings, and predictions for upcoming games. I'm going to splice it together.
What's going on, everyone? Usually there would be some other people here around me, and typically I wouldn't be opening it like this unless it was a Browns video, but I'm here. I'm Justin Harold. I'm talking about the Cavs. This is Cavs Encapsulated Solo Edition with Jeff and Logan also doing their own versions of this, where we're going to be talking about the last three games that happened and the next three games that are going to happen.
We're going to go from there. A little bit shorter of an upload for sure, because it's not just all of us sitting here on one concurrent session and giving our thoughts. It's kind of just more of an edited type of feel this week. Before we get into this one, if you love Cleveland Cavalier basketball, make sure you subscribe down below to our YouTube channel, The Cleveland Pulse. While you're doing that, hit the like button. Comment down below, do you like this style of video? You want to go back to the old style, or do you like live streams? Maybe the best. Let us know before we let them know. Okay, let's talk the last three games, because some disappointing outcomes all the way back to that 76ers game, which was pre-All-Star break. The Cavaliers are 1-3 in their last four. Now, the 76ers game obviously was a terrible start. We played a lot better in the Denver game. I think everyone will agree there. Denver, the best team in the Western Conference record-wise. Arguable and debatable if they're the best team, overall over there. I honestly think they are at full strength, but that's just me. Now, we're up 7 in that Denver game, and we kind of folded. We pretty much threw that game away in the fourth quarter. I think we only scored 17 or 18 points in the fourth frame of that game. Yeah, kind of a meltdown in the fourth quarter. Another instance where you basically see us have no offensive structure in the fourth quarter. It's a lot of hero ball. It's a lot of Mitchell. It's a lot of Garland. Mobley plays 3 incredible quarters in that Denver game. Honestly, the best 3 quarters of his career, I think, so far. I think he had like 31 points. Doesn't do anything in the fourth quarter. The guards totally go away from him. And
not a great start to the second half of the season for the Cavs, taking the first 2 games and losing to the Nuggets, the Hawks, and then bouncing back and beating the Raptors. Those first 2 games, the Nuggets game, frustrating, just because it felt like, for the most part, they were in the game. Evan Mobley, huge game, was keeping them alive for, the greater parts of that game, while Darius and Donovan took their time to, heat up and get going. They didn't produce too much at the end of that game, or they didn't produce enough at the end of the game, but they did as much as they could to come back. Now it's the biggest problem between those 2 games, between the Nuggets and the Hawks game, were the starting first quarters, where the Hawks and the Nuggets jump out to huge leads, and the Cavs have to fight back. Obviously not their strongest points. The Hawks game, everyone kind of plays poorly. Even Darius, who has 33 points, was just playing from behind. The Hawks dropped 32 in the first quarter and 49 in the second quarter, which that's not going to get you winning basketball games here. We know that. We know that's not the type of game that we play, though. But we moved on. We moved on to the Raptors, who all season long we struggled. They've owned us the entire series, but in a game that felt like the most cohesive between your starting unit guys. Great win. Great team win against a team that you could see in the playoffs, depending on how the play-in goes and how the Raptors bounce back. But overall, 1-3 for that first 3 games after the All-Star break.
And that's acknowledged post-game. They pretty much say, Donovan and Darius pretty much say, hey, we kind of dropped the ball there. We couldn't be great when we needed to be great, and Mobley was great all game. And we robbed them that chance of greatness. So I feel like we played good enough to win the Denver game up until the fourth quarter. You really do hate to drop a game at home. Yeah. And to segue into the Atlanta game, I don't know who made the decision, if it was JB, if it's a training staff, if it's Ricky. You'll never really know. They should have played Ricky in the Denver game. I think we have a better chance to win, and we play better in the fourth quarter if Ricky's available, and they should have rested him for the Atlanta game. Now, why do I say that? Number one, I don't get why he can't play both games. You just had a week off, bro. Is it the knee that bad? If it's that bad, I'm a little bit nervous. It's not going to be ready for playoff time, and he can't play in back-to-back playoff games. Maybe that's what they're saving him for. I have no idea. They will never give us updates because they don't really want to give us updates. That's fine. But you should have played him in the Denver game. You should have tried to win that Denver game at home, beat one of the better teams in the West, and then on the back-to-back just say, okay, it's knee management, load management. We want to run a bigger lineup against Atlanta anyway. So that's what startled me. I hated that decision as soon as I heard about it. You're coming out of the break. Let the man play the first game out of the break. It never made any sense to me. Now, into the Atlanta game. Probably one of the worst games of the season, I think. I mean, you give up a $136. It's indefensible for a team that's identity is defense, that's head coach is predicated on defense, that, the whole shtick is kind of like, let's play good defense and play good enough offense to win.
Donovan Mitchell looks, it's a little slow to start off the second half of the season. So does Darius. Evan Mobley had a great game to start, and then kind of teetered off a little bit. Jared Allen, just Mr. Consistent as always, doesn't do the flashiest of things and doesn't need to, but he gets the job done. The bench. In these last three games, you get rid of Kevin Love, he gets bought out, gotten rid of, shouldn't say that, but, the bench has been pathetic, just awful. Whoever you want to think is your sixth man, I think it's Ricky Rubio because he comes in, he very clearly changes how the game is, or how the flow of the game is going, how the flow of the offense is working for us. Then you move on and you're second guessing who you're getting with what guys, what version of this guy are you getting? Karis LeVert. What version are you getting? Are you getting the 40-point version, which is the 10% that you get from him through a season? Maybe. Or are you going to get the 90% of the season of him, of where he scores less than you need him to, he impacts the game less than you need him to, and the best thing you can say about him is that he matches up well against other opponents defensively. So that's your second guy off the bench. And then we're trying to figure it out. Is it Lamar Stevens? Is it Dean Wade? Is it Chetty Osman? Who's going to be that third guy coming off the bench? Are all these guys going to be usable in the playoffs? What situations can we use them in? Even Raul Neto, who Logan will tell you guys should get more minutes, is someone who has garnered a little bit of attention to talk about.
So you give up 136 points. Atlanta, kind of just a team that has our number. It's weird. I don't like it because there's a couple teams in the Eastern Conference. The next team, Toronto, which we're going to talk about after Atlanta, another team who kind of has had our number this season. But do I want to see Atlanta in a playoff series? I don't know if I could say like 100% yes at this moment in time. I think we could beat them in a playoff series, obviously. Something just happens with Trae Young and company when they see the Cavalier uniform. I don't know what it is. He just sees red and just goes crazy. Every time they fire a head coach, they come out and look like a totally different organization, team, unit, offensive structure, defensive structure. And we struggle. A team that is, I guess, a little bit more physical than we're used to. And I don't know. The Atlanta Hawks mystery, as far as the Cleveland Cavaliers, is something to be discovered, something to be looked into. Everybody remembers the playing game last year. So, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of playing Atlanta, and I'm not a huge fan of playing the next team in this three-game little segue, and that's Toronto. Thankfully, and good for us, we avoid the sweep, handling Toronto 118-93. You come out and you play a complete game there. That game was really never in doubt, and you just had good performances all around from your starters. Mobley with 18. Allen with 23, Garland with 18, Mitchell with 35, Okoro gives you 8, and Dean Wade gives you 7, and even Danny Green gives you 4 off the bench in 6 minutes. It is top 4 heavy. It is core 4, power 4, whatever you want to describe them as heavy. LeVert will give you 7, 6, and 3. Pretty good stat.
So moving forward, we're still going to be struggling to figure out what the lineup rotations are going to be. Obviously, they've cemented that the starting 5 is Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Isaac Okoro, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. Now we need to figure out the bench, and we need to figure out what the best rotations are, because obviously guys coming off the court with the guys coming on the court not working as of right now. The last 3 games are indicative of that, and the next 3 games aren't going to be, two out of the 3 of them not going to be any pushovers. So getting into that today, we've got the Cavs at Boston. This is going to be tough. These are going to be 3 tough games to. 2 out of 3 of them are going to be tough games to predict. But if you're going to be a playoff team and you're going to be a top 4 seed, you got to be able to go into the opponent's house and beat them. But I'm going to say the Celtics win here. The Cavs on the road, we know they're not great. A lot of these teams in the Eastern Conference, in the top half of the Eastern Conference, are very good at home. The Celtics are no different. I'm going to keep them winning it and the Cavs losing. Then, luckily, we get to come home. We get to play the Pistons. That's an easy win. You get to try and build some momentum off of that. Hopefully, get some big games out of guys that they can build off of. Hopefully get some things right in the rotations so that on Monday, March 6th, you can have this guaranteed. I'm doing this solo, so hopefully when these guys hopefully watch it, they see that I'm guaranteeing on March 6th, Monday at 7 p.m., Boston Celtics at Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cavs will beat the Celtics.
I mean, that's textbook Cavalier basketball right there from start to finish for the most part. That's a game that JB Bickerstaff is proud to say, hey, I coach these guys. You hold the other team to less than 100 points, only 17 points in the fourth quarter, and you almost score $120. So I was thrilled with the Toronto game. I was very disappointed in the Atlanta game, and I think we really truly should have won the Denver game. The Denver game is the game that got away. We were up 7. Some things happen, and we end up taking the L on that front. General thoughts? I said this on the Chicken Nugget live stream. Start down low. Start the game by getting Jared Allen 3 or 4 easy buckets, or Evan Mobley 3 or 4 easy buckets, and go from the outside from there. I think that we have this misconception offensively that the three-pointer is, we really need the three-pointer to succeed. It helps, and when we don't shoot the ball well, we look really bad. I think anybody could acknowledge that, but don't start with the three-pointer, end with the three-pointer. Go down low, establish your dominance in the paint with Mobley, with Jarrett Allen. If it's Isaac Okoro cutting to the basket, if it's Cedi Osman off the bench in transition, down low in the paint, whatever it may be. If it's Donovan Mitchell driving to the rim, I mean, we all know that he's a perennial scorer all 3 levels of the game. Then go outside. Then, we're into Mobley. It's a double pass out, open 3, bang. I don't think it's complicated. I don't think it's rocket science. Now, are we always going to execute at a high level? Are we always going to get the best shot available on that offensive possession? Are we always going to make the correct pass? No, but nobody's asking you to be perfect. We're just asking you to have a game plan. I see too many offensive possessions in a row.
And move on into a hopefully good stretch of a win streak here in the second half of the season. But we're going to be needing big performances from, obviously, Donovan Mitchell, who has teetered off a little bit going into the All-Star break and coming out of it. Darius Garland going to need to, continue to run the offense the way that he has and be able to, do the things that make the offense flow, make the offense work, getting guys into the right position. Hopefully, he can come off the court. Ricky Rubio can supply that as well. And then the guys around us, the guys around those pieces, the guys that run the offense, the big guys getting their rebounds, playing their defense, the bench pieces, they got to come along. They've got to start adding to the production of offense here. Chetty Osman's got to find his groove moving into the playoffs, and Lamar Stevens, Dean Wade, they need to find their position in the rotation. And Karis LeVert, he just needs to find the basket. He needs to find the bottom of the net more. And that's all I can say about that. That's been Cavs Encapsulate, the solo edition, just an edition. And hopefully I've got the Cavs going 2-1 on this next 3 games, a loss and 2 wins. And yeah, that's going to be it for me. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Make sure you guys are liking, subscribing, and leaving comments, hitting that bell notification. It all matters, and we appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. See you in the next one. Peace.
Well, I have no idea what we're doing. LeVert pounding the rock, shoots up a shot, terrible shot. That's why people don't like LeVert, is because he gets into those modes where he thinks he's the only player on the court. And that happens. That happens with Donovan. Donovan just happens to, average almost 30 a game. That happens with Darius, but Darius pretty much averages double-double with assists and points. So it doesn't happen with our bigs. I'm never like, oh, Evan Mobley thinks he's the only person out there. Jared Allen, he's being a ball hog right now. Never happens with Allen. Rarely happens with Mobley. So work through your bigs and then go to the exterior, then hit the threes, then get Dean Wade involved, then have Chetty come from, 3-point land, and Isaac Okoro spot up corner 3 once in a while. It'll get the job done. Point number 2, generality, before I want to go to predictions. If you disagree with me, that's fine. I need people to hear this, though. Evan Mobley needs to be the best player on this team. He needs to be. He really does. He has the potential to be the most dominant player on the roster, maybe in the Eastern Conference, potentially the league. He's very good. He's very good down low. He has a very good handle for his age and size, being a 7-footer. His shot is coming along, and he's very good even without it. His three-pointer is like average looking, average percentages, below average percentages. There's possessions where he's dominant. People can't do anything. Easy dunk, easy layup. Gets a block on the defensive end, full court Euro step. Simple. Him and Donovan Mitchell could plausibly be on the same level, and that would be really good for our chances to go deep in the playoffs. If we could get Evan Mobley into that Donovan Mitchell scoring range, 25, 30 points a game for a stretch, watch out. We're blowing teams out. 100%. Complete blowout. So, yeah, I wanted to say that. I think Evan Mobley's the key here. I know Donovan Mitchell is the big offseason acquisition everybody get hyped for, all-star, been in the playoffs. I get it. He's not giving you the defensive impact that Evan Mobley does. That was always going to be the case. And he's dominant, and he gets in those modes where it's like he's on fire, can't miss. But he's not like they both could be unguardable players. Let's just say that. I want them to both be unguardable players simultaneously. And I think the Cavaliers have a lot of success. Now, moving into the upcoming schedule. I hate it. I'll be truthful with you guys. I hate it off the rip. The day I'm recording this, Wednesday, March 1st, 3-1. Happy 3-1 day. Shout out to the Golden State Warriors for blowing that lead. I think the Cavs lose today. We're at Boston. We've already beat them twice. We're still not a very good road team. I think we lose against Boston tonight. Saturday, March 4th, we play Detroit. I think that's an easy win. Detroit's in total tank mode. Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes. I think if you lose that game, heads will roll on social media apps. Mine to be primarily number 1. Follow at Paul's Cleveland to see my head roll. And the Boston game, March 6th, the Monday at home. I'm going to be an optimist here because I think Boston is better than us, but I think we win 3 out of 4 this year against the Celtics. We win that game at home, defend home court. We lose the one tonight on the road. I think that's the most plausible way forward, and that's the most obvious game prediction, so it'll probably be wrong, but we lose tonight at Boston, we beat Detroit, we beat Boston at home, and we march on. The schedule, doesn't get a whole lot easier. 2 games to Miami after, which will be next week's Cavs Encapsulated episode, and then you have 2 games in a row with Charlotte, so weird scheduling coming up here, and just some tests to be had for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cavalier faithful, I hope you enjoyed this style of video. I hope that we could do this more in the future, maybe if our schedules don't align, instead of just not having to upload. And before we see you guys again, 3 most important words for Cavalier faithful, let them know.